Obviously, the episode's been out now, so we're not ruining it. If you haven't watched it, you can go watch it. But how did you do on the episode?
I mean, I won by 1 second, apparently. It was pretty sick.
Yes. And what was the prize that you got?
$10,000. Wow.
What's up, guys? Today's guest is a professional parkour athlete and commentator. Please welcome to the JAMCast, Mr. Fernando Arce.
Hello there. Thanks for having me, Travis.
Of course, man. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in so long. You're finally back in Los Angeles?
Yeah, it's been a thick minute. I keep bouncing around back and forth, but back in Encino for a while.
Okay. And where have you been? Arizona, if I'm not mistaken? Or where was the last time? Where was the last place you were at, actually?
I've been around. The last place I was at was in Chicago just more recently.
Oh,
for
crazy.
a weekend. I was doing commentating a qualifier there.
Yes.
The USA Parkour Cup. That's actually happening next week, which will be in Tampa. I'll be there for that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been bouncing around a lot of places, like all over.
Amazing, amazing, man. And so, like, just to speak on that, where are you originally from? Like, where did you call home back when your origin story started, I guess?
I was born in New Jersey, but I'm raised in Arizona, so my home will always be the desert.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the heat. I'd rather be hot than cold.
Crazy. And what part of Arizona? I only ask because I've been spending a lot of time out there recently. I'm actually looking at possibly getting a house out there.
Yeah.
It's the closest to Cali without the ocean, I guess.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah, no, same seasons. Yeah, in Phoenix, Arizona, but more like the Phoenix Glendale region, like North Phoenix. Yeah, so around there I grew up.
Okay, dope. I've been looking out there. I've also been looking in like Scottsdale or maybe just some investment properties in Tempe because of the universities and schools out there and stuff like that.
Absolutely. The university has great free running like spots all over.
100%. Dude, I don't think people realize how hot it can get out there, man. It can get hot in the summers, bro. I have some friends that lived out there. They showed me a picture once of they're like trash cans melting almost, like literally melting.
It gets hot. Yeah. A lot of reflection heat too. It gets up there.
100%, man. And so, like, with that being said, obviously you lived in New Jersey. How old were you when you moved to Arizona?
I was just a baby, probably like a few months old or a year old.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the majority of your movement journey was actually based in Arizona.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And I think one thing that a lot of people don't know about you is that you actually started in martial arts far before parkour and free running.
Oh yeah, that was the first thing I picked up. Yeah, when I was about 4.5 years old, like a little after Power Rangers came out on television. Yeah, Taekwondo.
No way. And so, like, how long did you study and what level did you get up to?
So 4.5 started out there, and then around 6.5, I got my first degree, and then 8 was second degree, and then 10 was third degree. Like, I never missed classes. I never got sick as a kid. I never missed testings. I always passed testings.
Yes.
I was the kid that just like was there all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was it that you studied? Taekwondo?
Yeah, Taekwondo.
Was it like WTF style or?
ATA.
ATA, okay. Of course. So there's only like 3 major ones in the US.
Yeah, way back when.
Did you compete also on the ATA circuit or do anything?
I did, yeah. Even from like when we started out, like, orange belts, just doing forms and like, one steps. And then going into, all the way through black belt, state championships, national championship.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so was that like kind of a basis of origin for, I guess, acrobatic moves? Because I know for some people, like getting into karate or martial arts at an early age, when they start doing the demo team or start competing, that's when they start to learn like jump kicks. And for some people, that's where they're introduced to flipping.
Yeah.
Is that how your journey started, or how did you first start get into flipping?
I got into flipping when I was 18, like 17, 18.
Oh, wow. Pretty late.
Pretty late, yeah.
Oh.
My cousin showed me a video on YouTube, like parkour compilation, the Eminem soundtrack and whatnot.
Yes, one of those hype ones.
Exactly, everyone knows that one. And he's like, yo, I think this is right up your alley. This is so sick for you. I'm like, it's like, damn, yeah, Mike, this seems pretty cool. But I'm like, I don't know. I'll just stick to what I got right now. Yeah. And then like a few months later, I was always growing up, like I was a black belt, as a kid, showing my show and tell, showing off like that. And people are like, oh, you're a black belt. You're a ninja. Can you do a backflip? And I'm like, guys, martial arts is not about flips, okay? It's about, self-defense, martial arts. And so I just got sick of it. In high school, I got it. I'm just like, dude, guys, track and field. I'm like, I got it. And on the field. And I'm like, finally, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to get over my fears. I'm just going to go out there. So me and my buddy took a twin bed mattress, a spring top mattress. We put it on top of my car, drove to a park. Not even like the backyard, just drove to a park, like a field.
Totally.
Put it down. And I'm like, okay. And just like going over YouTube videos, I'm like, I see people laying on their necks all the time, like scorpion. And I'm like, ooh, can't be doing that. So, okay. All right. So I just got to throw it over. And I'm like on the mattress, and I throw my body over, and I catch myself in like hands and feet, knees, and like that. I'm like, okay, okay. All right. That's okay. That's the worst that could happen, I guess. And so I just like worked on landing on my feet, do it a couple times on the mattress. I'm like, all right. And then mattress to my feet. And then, okay, here we go. Just ground on the feet. And I did like the lowest backflip, just whipped my head back. boom, land on my feet, no technique, and I jump up in celebration higher than I backflip.
Yeah.
And then I like celebrate and I stumble out of it, almost trip myself, and I'm like, got so hyped. And then from that day forward, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna go on YouTube and just rewind clips and just look forward and just like, okay, to study that, go outside and go train those flips and just be as safe as I can until I found about open gym sessions, which was like, whoa. A guy I worked at when I was a fourth degree at a martial arts place, he was like, hey, do you know about open gym sessions in gymnastic places? And I'm like, no, what's that? He's like, you can go there, pay like 10, 20 bucks, and you can go and just use the gym. And I'm like, not take a class? Because I don't want to take a class. I'm like, I'm done taking classes. Yeah. And he's like, no, man. You can just go there and flip around. I'm like, shoot, I'll come.
Yes.
Go there, and it's the spring. First time I stepped on a spring floor, whole is like on the moon. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And you know, I did martial arts throughout my life, and then I did track and field in middle school, high school, and collegiate. So I had a lot of jumping power as well. And then I had that with the spring floor. I'm like, what is this? I'm just like, oh. And then I just honed in all my skills there at the gym. And then from there, I took them outside and just like locked them down.
No way. That is crazy. It's so funny. Like we share a lot of things in common. Like my first backflip, I learned going from my friend's diving board into the pool. Did it a few times. I was like, drive me to the park right now. And they drove me to the park and I got super lucky and landed one.
Wow. Okay. Now that you bring that up, I mean, we had like growing up, we had pool and like a diving board as a kid. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, as a kid, I would try and mimic things I see on TV and stuff like that, even really little. And so I'd like, you know, dive into the pool and like throw a front flip.
Yes.
And then when Cisco, his Thong Song came out, when he did that gainer up, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I want to do that. So off the diving board, running forward, jump, and like getting no height, and like just whipping back forward and doing it around. And I was like, I did the Cisco flip. Yeah. One of the times I caught the diving board like right here, and it's like just barely, and just a red scrape just right here just for like a week and a half. I'm just like,
crazy, dude. One of the other things that we share in common, which not a lot of people do, is I actually ran track and field since I was in middle school as well. I think I started when I was 11 years old, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Most people start in high school, and so they were always shocked that I had been running for years before I even got to my high school team. But I ran club track and field, did Junior Olympics as well. And so what did you do? What events were you doing back then?
So my dad was a big track and field athlete growing up, and then my mom also was a track and field athlete as well.
Wow.
And so I, you know, growing up, like, yeah, he's like, hey, why don't you do track and field? Middle school's doing it. They're sign up.
Totally.
No cut sport. You can just go up and some whatever.
Exactly. They're taking anyone.
Exactly. Hey, you didn't do basketball? Come on over. You didn't do football? Come on over. Exactly. So I would do just the field events like long jump and like the short sprints, like 100 or the hurdles.
Crazy.
Yeah, and there was in middle school, it was like, everyone's doing 4 events, so you got to do 4 events, you know? Yep. And I looked on the sheet, I'm like, Coach, I'm only doing 3 events. You know, it's right here. I'm doing like 100, the hurdles, and long jump. And he's like, oh no, I got you right here, 400. I'm like, I didn't sign up for that. He's like, oh no, I signed you up for that. I think it might be good for you.
The worst event in the world.
What? Yeah.
People don't realize the 400 is quite possibly one of the hardest events in the world.
Oh, I remember the track and field event. Like I'm always prepared for short sprints. And I'm just like, okay, here we go. Boom, 100. I'm like, cool, coasting on the curve. Boom, 200. I'm like, all right, cool. Hit the 300. Here comes that wall. I'm like,
I was going to say the bear jumps on your back.
Yeah, and I'm just like, ooh. And I just see people just like crawling and just like, uh-oh. Then I hit the last 100. I'm like, everyone's in front of me. And I'm just like, just gasping, gulping for air. I'm looking at people just like looking at everyone else down the field, like cheering them on. I'm just like,
it's almost like the maximum amount your body can sprint. It's crazy because I grew up opposite you. I was a long distance runner. I ran the 1500 and the 3000. Mm-hmm. And so which people are like, yeah, too much, right? So what was crazy was my coach put me on the 4x4 thinking like, oh dude, this guy runs four laps and 8 laps in races. He'll be Gucci. And I thought the same thing. I'm like, yeah, no big deal. I got you. Dude, that first time I ran the 400, bro, that last 100 literally felt like a 400-pound man jumped on my back and I'm just trying to drag him. I'm like, what is happening? How is this possible? I feel like I'm in mud right now.
Legs are dragging. Yeah.
People don't realize, dude.
Yeah, the lactic acid gets you.
Dude, and I'm always blown away with people who can do the 400-meter hurdles. I'm like, y'all are jumping and running the 400?
Yeah.
Major props.
That's crazy.
Major props, yeah. So crazy, man. Well, that's wild. I guess that makes sense, though, that you were good at sprinting and had the athletic background from the field events like long jump and stuff like that. That kind of translates into parkour, I guess, for lack of a better term. So after you watch that initial video, are you solo training? Do you find a community? Like, how do you embark on this parkour journey?
Wow. Yeah. So first, after like watching that video, like, you know, months go by. And then after I land the backflip was when I really start my training going on. Yeah. And so I'm either in the Taekwondo gym like stacking mats up, like kicker mats,
Yes.
up on top and doing rolls over it, and like we're trying to get side flips over, doing that.
I know the struggle.
Yeah, that's always fun. And then like landing like, oh, then toppling it over and like resetting the mats over.
Yep.
So I was doing that. And I was kind of soloing in the gym, just like honing my skills down. Wow. There would be some other people that like go into open gyms sometimes, and I would like hook up with them, like, whoa, how'd you do that? Can you show me how to do that? I'm like, yeah, sure, I can show you how to do that.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, kids don't realize how lucky they are to have formal parkour classes. We even have had Michael Kadori on here a couple weeks ago, who is one of the top parkour athletes in the world. He started by taking classes at Apes Parkour for 2 years. And like, look at the beast that he's become now. You know what I'm saying? Corbin Reinhardt, here on Tempest, started with going to White Lotus and Tempest back in the days. Now he's a pro athlete competing. It's like we're out here just in the cuts.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, you start as a kid, man. You got that young genes, all the rubber bones. You can just go for days.
So crazy to think about, man. And so, like, what over time, I guess, like when you first started, how many hours a week were you training in open gyms and by yourself? And how long was it until, I guess, you stumbled upon a community, if at all there was a community in Arizona? Just because, excuse my ignorance, I just don't know of what existed out there before nowadays with, SFP parkour and stuff like that.
Yeah. So there was this gym out there in Arizona that had open gym almost 7 days a week, like 6 days, 5 days a week. It was like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
And it was $10 for 2 hours.
Okay.
And it had spring floor, in-ground foam pit, in-ground trampolines, in-ground resi pit.
Wow, which is rare.
That's
one of my favorite tools.
Yeah. So I actually started another gym before that, but this one is when I went to like daily, like back in high school and stuff like that. So this, in-ground resi pit makes you like progress so fast because you have a foam pit. You could stack mats on top, but mats still have that big give and the drop. You can land in the foam, half mat assassinated.
Yep.
Otherwise, the resi mat, oh my goodness, so nice. So I was there almost like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Crazy.
Yeah, because on the side, I was coaching Taekwondo. So I was making money from doing that.
Okay.
And I was, doing that for a long time. I actually had my own gym with my sister.
Wow.
Like after my dad had his gym for the longest time.
Okay.
But then like probably about 1 to 2 years into my training. So like I started like finding other people outside, like, cause other people at the open gyms would be like, hey man, we go training outside for a little while. You want to train out? I'm like, yeah, sure, cool. And like, slowly like making the little small gatherings and little small jams and whatnot, and then building it back up. And then eventually starting my team back up when I had it from like one of my buddies in college.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy, man. Okay. And so what is the scene like out there in Arizona? I just have never been a part of it until recently when I've gone out there and trained at some of the open gyms and the one gym that you used to train at and work out as well. So
yeah, so it's grown a lot since I've started out there like 10, 12 years ago. There's like multiple parkour gyms there now. There's a lot of gymnastics gyms and like trampoline parks that are doing really good out there. And so the community is pretty widespread. Scottsdale, Phoenix, Peoria, Tempe, Tucson's big down there. And a lot of times Tucson will make a trip up to the Phoenix area, and it's grown all huge. At one point, we had statewide, our yearly state jam.
Okay.
And we would have, I think our biggest one was like 75, 80 people.
Dang.
We had them all like cascaded up and took a group photo. It was pretty awesome to see.
So I got to ask, with obviously the inherent temperature thing that goes on out there, is the majority of the training still done outdoors by everyone, or did you guys train in the mornings, or did you just get adapted to the heat and you just suck it up and train in these 100+ degree days?
Yeah, so usually we would start early in the morning, kind of like, 9, 10 a.m., depending on, how everyone's feeling from the next day, but usually on Sundays because no one's doing anything that day.
Totally.
We start in the morning, do warm-ups and stuff, and then once everyone's warmed up, we're like ready to move to the next spot, we'll either walk to the next spot, or if it's far away, we want to get to the next spot, we'll all hop in someone's car, or we'll caravan over to the next spot.
Okay.
We'll just keep on going, train for a few hours at that spot until everyone's tired. We get in the heat, we'll move to the shadow, like shade spots.
Yeah.
Find those spots, stay hydrated.
Okay.
Drinking lots of water. And you just adapt, kind of like, you take your shirt off.
Totally.
Have your clothing prepared, to wipe off and make sure you're good and not to sweat off.
And so how many years do you think it took, if you're able to even put a numeric value on this? How long do you think it took before you got to a level of feeling, I guess, for lack of a better term, like ready to compete against other people, or ready to like compare yourself on a world stage? You know what I'm saying? Like, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, with my Taekwondo background, competing for years on end, trying to do forms correctly, exact movements, sparring against other people, trying to get those exact points and contact movements.
Yes.
Got to be exact about it.
So you're used to the feel of competition and putting yourself against other people and working towards a goal of being, as best as you can.
Exactly. Like same thing with competing in track and field.
Yes.
I did triple jump in high school and college. So like being exact on that takeoff point and being exact on the landings, how you got to be. And it travels over to practicing parkour, being exact with my movements.
Yeah.
If you're not being exact with yourself, you're going to be injured a lot.
Totally. And they're also individual sports where you're not relying upon a team. You're solely relying upon yourself.
Absolutely. Wow. I just put that. Yeah. Taekwondo's is an individual sport,
I've noticed that about myself. Growing up, I did all individual sports as well. And so like parkour and tricking and things were like things that lent itself really well because I was just used to not having to rely on someone, relying solely upon yourself and having to practice by yourself and get better on your own,
Exactly. So, yeah. I growing up, I did like during Taekwondo, that was like a yearly thing.
Yeah.
But during like the off school seasons, I would, do like recreational like basketball for a couple times.
Same here. I do it for fun and stuff.
Or like t-ball when I was really little. Or soccer was a good one for endurance, but it was like still a team sport. You gotta pass it and rely on other people. And so I would only do it for like 1 or 2 seasons and never like do it multiple years.
Totally.
Taekwondo, track and field. Those are things parkour things I just kept on all the way.
Crazy. So dude, I gotta ask this question before I get further on the stuff that you've been doing professionally and things like that. Because I should say it every time it's on the Jam Breakdown. What in the hell is your signature move that you do all the time? What do you consider it and how do you break it down? Because bro, every time any of us watch it, we're like, we don't know what the hell it is. It's like a side flip, fullish type thing. Like, I don't really know. So what do you consider it and what are you thinking when you do it?
Yeah, so the movie thing, that's your movie referring to.
You know exactly what movie we're referring to, Tom.
Exactly.
We know exactly.
So I first started off doing like side flip fulls.
Okay.
And I was getting at that gym that had the spring floor to resi. So it was flat to flat. It's perfect. Awesome. So I had so much time to side flip and do that. And then I would, crank it from immediate side flip. So instead of going just to tuck, I would like side and then like bring it to the hip and so take off that way. And I would just do like kind of a high side full.
Yeah.
And eventually I would just like, hey, let's see if I can like gap the resi. Cool, let's see if I can like gap the foam pit.
Okay.
And then like it eventually turned into like a dive, like a vortex.
It's so, I don't know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I was doing it, I would use my arm to go for it. And now I don't need to because I use my shoulders. And so I can go really long distances of just like running, diving shoulders and twisting it around. And I'm doing a side flip. So I'm basically just like side flipping and then my shoulders do the full 360.
Okay.
And I land on my feet. And
so it really is a side full.
It's really a side full.
Steezed out.
It's optical illusion steezed out.
Dude, it literally trips us out. Every time we watch on the Jam Breakdown, we're always like, what the hell is that?
What is it?
Like, we know what it is. It looks like a side full, but it doesn't look like a side full.
Exactly. And then the rare times I do my double full.
Yes.
Dude. Yeah, that's like...
Yeah, 100%, dog. Oh, that's so crazy. Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. I just had to ask about that. And so along the ways, obviously, like I said, you got to a certain level where you got used to competing and things like that. At what point did you make the decision to move out to Los Angeles? Because at a certain point, you had kind of gone away from Arizona and relocated out to here, if I'm correct.
Yeah. So, going up through training with my team, once we found out Tempos was opening up a gym, we're like, hey, guys, let's make a road trip. Let's go out there and go train at the gym. It's a free running gym, dude. It's going to be crazy. Went there, it was like Disneyland for us.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. We went so hard. And then the next day I couldn't move. I was like, I rolled out of bed. I'm just like, oh, and I drove back to Arizona. I'm just like, oh, I'm so sore. And it was so glorious. Then I went back to the gym, my home gym that I was training. I'm like,
not the same.
Oh my goodness, what am I gonna do here?
Damn.
What am I gonna do here? And I just had to like go back. I'm like, dude, I've been training here for years. Just like got to hone in my stuff. And then like training on, we would, every now and then we'd go back to California and train at Venice Beach.
Yes.
Train it up. And then later on, after coaching at that gym that I started going that through 5 times a day.
Yeah.
After coaching there, I was like, I need to get this certification, like get me this legit or something like that. So the World Freerunning and Parkour Federation has the coaching certification.
Yes, certifications, yes.
But that only happens in certain spots of the United States.
True.
And the closest one was going to be in Texas coming up. I was like, ooh. And it's at like New Year's. So it's like the first one's on the, like day one is on the second.
Great. And do you remember like what year or around what time frame this was when you decided to do that certification?
Actually, me and my buddy wanted to do it together in California. We were going to do a road trip up to San Francisco.
Okay.
I had one. And he backed out like a few months. Like he's like, hey man, I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm like, really? Come on, we're going to do this together. It's like, nah, I don't think so. I'm like, all right. Texas had one. I was like, oh, 2 for 1. Buy two level 1 and level 2 for price of 1.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, cool. Back when they had it separate deals.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, cool, get a deal on this. I'll get a cheap plane ticket. Oh, it was 2013 New Year's.
Wow.
Instead, this is like the first time not spending it with like my family, like partying at the crack of dawn.
Totally.
And like doing a Hispanic thing.
Totally.
And I'm just like, I'm at the airport and my flight was delayed. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm just like, here at the airport, 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year.
No.
And I was like, oh, this is going to be worth it, man. This is going to be worth it. And so I went over there to Texas and I actually was rooming with the certification like leader, Robbie Corbett. Dude. And we stayed there because we were the only people that were from out of Texas that flew in for this.
Oh, wow. Everyone else
is from Texas. Like,
it makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
Texas is huge. And so we stayed together. And so we instantly like, you know, caught in each other's vibes.
Totally.
You know, we bonded. We had the same kind of like habits and humor.
Yeah.
And it was just, we clicked instantly. Dang. And so like doing through the certification, he saw my talents and saw my commitment. And he's like, hey, you know, like later on, he's like, you know, would you like to like help me out with a certification I'm having in Scottsdale? They're having the parkour gym. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. They're opening up the gym.
Perfect.
I'd love to help you out with that. It's cool. And so I ended up helping out with certification 3 times in that 2 or 3 year time frame, like helping out that gym.
Totally.
And then later on, he's like, hey man, how would you like to lead a certification? He's like, oh really? He's like, yeah, with another guy who's been doing the same thing as you, assisting it out. How would you like to lead one? I'm like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. Awesome. At the gym I'm familiar with that.
Yes.
Sick. Did that. Became certified. I'm a master trainer. I can go certify on my own.
Yes.
Boom, travel around, go other cities, other like countries. And then he's like, one time I was going to Beast Coast and I was like, sweet, I've never been. Okay. And I was on the way and he's like, Robbie called me. I was like, hey man, I can't make this East Coast certification. I have this gig in LA, this Hollywood thing.
Okay. Yeah. Movie thing. Yeah, totally.
And I was like, did you want to do it? I'm like, do I go pay to go train? Outside,
or
get paid to train other athletes. I'm like, damn. Oh, and it was pretty sick. It was like, get paid and train other people. It's so dope. And so I did a bunch more certifications, and it wasn't until later on when I'm like, I was getting certifications, getting close with Robbie, getting more connected. He was like,
totally.
Hey, I've got a gig out here in LA. Would you like to be a part of it? And like doing some other gigs. And I'm like, cool. Like not just like it's a parkour gig.
Yeah.
Sick. Cool. And I was getting more in like with my sponsor and I was getting more up there and I was like doing more promotional things. I'm like, you know, this LA is like, you know, got a lot more opportunities, a lot more like money out here.
Yes.
A lot more things out here. So I'm like, you know what? I think it's time for my career to move because I'm in Arizona. What else am I doing?
Yeah.
Just private lessons, which is great, but it's just like just doing that over and over repetitively. So I wanted to move out and in 2017, I moved out in November.
Okay.
Yeah, in like October, November.
Okay.
And I immediately got beforehand I got a coaching gig at a gym out in Southern California, like Vault PK.
Yeah, totally.
Which happens to be right like a mile away where the owner of Olo lives.
Yes, small world.
Small world. I immediately started coaching there and 2017 was
wow.
And then during that time I would still be like in and out of like California, Pennsylvania during the summer times, coaching at Camp Woodward.
I was going to ask about how you got into Woodward, and because we always see videos of you over there.
Yeah, Woodward is the mecca.
Yeah, right? It's like Tempest on crack almost, right? Like,
yeah, so I'm glad I got connected with the WFPF because David, the owner, one of the owners of it, he reached out to me and was like, hey, there's a big action sports camp out in Pennsylvania that is going to have a trial week for parkour. Would you like to be a coach of it?
I remember that, yeah.
And I'm like, what? There's a summer camp for parkour? Hell yeah. Sign me up.
Yeah.
He's like, well, you have to apply. There's a lot of coaches that are applying out there. So you got to get your application. And I'm like, boom. That night, like after I got off the phone with him, applied for it. And I was like, cool. Waiting for him. I'm like, it's like, Woodward. I'm like, trying to remember what I remember this from. It's like Nitro Circus.
Yes.
Like way back when. I was like, oh my goodness. I saw like a few of it. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then like a week later, he's like, hey man, you got the job. You know, pack your bag, you know, get ready. It's in like 2 weeks. And I'm like, 2 weeks? Wait a minute. And he's like, yeah, talk to the cheer director. I'm like, what? Cheer? And so like the cheer director is like, hey, we're kind of short staffed for these 2 weeks. Would you like to come early and, you know, stay at camp and train, coach cheer? And I'm like, I've coached Taekwondo, I've coached track and field, I've coached parkour, but I have never coached cheer before.
Totally.
And he's like, oh no, don't worry about it. Ben Jenks was out here. He was coaching cheer and he's just spotting backflips. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, just spotting back handspring and spot backflips. I'm like, can you spot those? I'm like, yeah, I can spot those all day.
All day.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I got to spend 2 more extra weeks at camp before the parkour week.
Sick, man. That is so sick. I've never had the chance to go to Woodward. It just looks like a playground for just anything that you want to try.
Yeah. It was like Tempest ramped up to like 50 to 100.
I even seen videos of Ben like getting on a BMX bike and backflipping into a foam pit, and it's like, dude, you could really just try anything out there with how many foam pits and safety things that they have set in place for that really allow kids to just kind of get over their fears by training in like a safe environment, you know?
Absolutely, and that's the great thing about parkour program there at camp. We have every spot is our spot. Like there's nothing off limits to us because like all the gym programs, they have to stay in their gyms because that's what they're training at. All the action sports, they have to stay in their action parks. They don't bring their boards into the cheer gym.
Totally.
And with us, we're like, well, we train in the gyms, we train in the streets, we train in the parks.
Outside on the grass.
Outside on the grass, on the ground, up on the scaffolding.
Totally.
We train everywhere. It's amazing.
Wow. And so are you still involved with Woodward? Do you still go out there on an annual basis or?
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. Since 2013 when it was trial week and then until it was full summers. And then unfortunately in 2020 when it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then it came back 2021 with full summer. And then I'll be looking to go back this summer as the Woodward program coordinator.
No way.
Yeah, so I'm leveling up a bit.
That's awesome, man. Super cool. And so for anyone that's out there listening that wants to actually just go as like, I guess, a camper and stuff like that, how do they do that? Do they go on the website? Do they have to pay to go? Like, do you know what is entailed with their registration and stuff like that?
Yeah, actually, there's a deal going on if you sign up before the 31st, which is really close.
Yeah, really close.
I don't know if it'll come out by then.
I don't think so.
No. Oh, you missed the deal.
1 week after. Yeah, you missed the deal, y'all. Oh, well.
Oh, well. Well, there's no deal. So imagine that, Eric. So, yeah, you can go online to woodwardcamp.com, pretty sure. And it's not just in Pennsylvania. It's in California. It's in Utah. There's a few in California, actually.
Yeah.
And you can sign up for the weekly programs. And you can sign up for multiple weeks. You can actually sign up on off seasons, too, as in like just a resort.
No way.
Yeah.
And so when you go there, does it also include lodging? Do you stay at the camp? Is it like 5 days? Are meals included? Do you know all that stuff?
Absolutely. Yeah. So when you go to camp, you stay at, with housing, with other campers or other staff members. Meals are 3 times a day for free, but you can also purchase any food that they have for purchase there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And there's also a little town nearby if you want to drive, get camp, like actual human food.
Outside of camp food.
Outside of camp food. Yeah, absolutely.
100. Okay, that's super dope. I most recently got to go to Park City, Woodward, and it was super cool. But I would love to get to, obviously, the Mecca on the East Coast.
Bro, I saw your when you were at Park and that bail you had.
One of the worst bails of my entire life.
Really?
Literally. And what was so crazy was that like we went there the day before. We were just kind of jumping around, but we're like, let's not get too sore. Let's come back tomorrow and film all day. Come back the next day. That was my first part of my first warm-up runs. Jump, had brand new shoes on that weren't broken in yet. And also because of COVID, in between open gym sessions, they were sanitizing everything.
Oh, slippery.
And we didn't realize that it was wet still. I just assumed, it's dry. I just jumped a gap that was just sizable enough that I went to bend my knees to absorb. If it was smaller, I would have been totally fine. Bent, new shoes that weren't broken in on top of COVID liquid.
Oh, no.
Slipped, tore my MCL, fractured my tibia. And I just felt so bad because it was part of like a 4-day road trip. We were still supposed to keep going on. I was like, Bailey, I got to go home, bro. Like I need to go see the doctor. I can't train on this. It's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, that's happened to me at Tempest and at Woodward. Like that same thing. Like don't go too hard.
Yep.
I was there for that Camp Woodward for 3 weeks.
Yes.
And I was like, they did have staff demos on Mondays, get the show off a little bit.
Chill.
I'm like, all right, cool. But I went to the tumble track into the resi and it was pretty high, like standard resis and trampolines.
Yeah.
And so I got like extra bounce, like, whoa. And I landed, I like hyperextended my right knee. I'm like, okay, really chill out. And I was like holding back for like 2 weeks after that, but I was still doing stuff. But I was like, parkour week, just hold on.
So crazy, man. That's awesome. Well, so on top of everything, like as far as teaching and certifications are concerned, one of the other things you've got to do is compete in various competitions from, all around the world. But I think some of the ones that people most recognize are ones that have been televised. So I got to bring up the first one, Ultimate Tag Season 1, Episode 4 on Fox. What was so unique was that you got to compete as a contestant where a lot of our homies and friends are on there as the professional chasers. And so how did you get onto that show and how did you get cast to be one of the contestants, I guess, and get to go on there on Season 1?
During a certification in Texas, we actually drove down to Intrepid to do some more promotional filming.
Yes.
And during that, I got a DM on Instagram from a casting producer.
Okay.
And he's like, hey, I've seen your social medias and YouTube. I've seen your reels, man. You're looking like exactly what we're looking for our TV show. Would you be interested? I'm like, sure, yeah. What, can you set up a meeting? When can you come down in? And I'm like, yeah, we can set up a meeting, sure. On Zoom. So we did the Zoom interview. And he's like, you'll be interviewing for the competitor and the taggers.
Oh, so you got to get interview for both.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. So they ask me all the questions, you know, all this being like silly and goofy, you know, have your personality show out. And then they ask me all this stuff. I'm like, cool. Yeah. He's like, okay, cool. Can you come in, you know, tomorrow? I'm like, I'm in Texas right now. Actually I'm leaving like 2 days from now. So I can be there in like 3 days. And he's like, oh man, well, we'll fly you out if you can. And it's like, actually, I got to be here first. You know, this is a priority. I say, all right, that's all right. No problem. No problem. Come in on when you can on Sundays and then we'll see you then. I'm like, oh, cool. So I did that whole application thing and did the whole tryout and whatnot. And one of the final tryouts was being at Tempest and like doing all the parkour stuff.
Okay.
And I'm like, dude, I got this.
I know this place.
And they're like, all right, doing all the skills. And I'm just like, I'm doing all the vaults. I see all these big guys that like, you know, wrestlers or football athletes and there's muscle heads. And I'm just like, dang, they're big, but can they move those muscles?
Yeah, yeah.
And immediately one of the first things was like, all right, we're going to traverse the bar and you do the pipes, you know, reach across, grab the bar, reach across the bar, reach across and try all the cross until you come back around the foam pit. Cool. All right, who wants to go first? And everyone was like all timid, like, oh no, who's going to go first? And I was like, all right, moved to the front of the mic, I'll go first. Climbed up and I moved across and just like started swinging and everyone's like, whoa. Because it was like thing to reach and like
so you're gonna lachey,
gapped it, boom, and then dyno gap, lachey, dyno gap, and then boom, got to cross and like, and then Brett's like, okay guys, and then that's one other way you can do it. And everyone was like, reaching across, and some other people tried to do it because they saw me do it, and they're like, okay, we can do this.
Don't have the pump down.
Yo, yeah, they're trying to do it.
You can't lachey. It is hard, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. And so eventually, I guess you get cast to be a contestant.
Yeah, so I'm a contestant on the show. Yeah, and then they bring me into the room. They're like, all right, we're gonna show you a little video of who you'll be going up against. And I'm like, all right, cool. Sit down. I'm like, all right, it's Jesse LaFleur. I'm like, all right, cool. Omar Zaki. I'm like, all right, cool. Tavon, and it's just like, and it just rolls on and on and on. I'm like,
everyone we know,
dude. I'm knowing like 90% of these people, male and female, just like, cool. All right, I know who I'm going against.
Yes.
And it's like, sweet. And I'm just in that process of doing that.
So funny, man. And so obviously the episode's been out now, so we're not ruining it. If you haven't watched it, you can go watch it. But how did you do on the episode?
I mean, I won by 1 second, apparently. It was pretty sick.
Yes. And what was the prize that you got?
$10,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Was it 1 day of filming, or how many days was it?
It was quite a few days of filming because
oh wow, okay.
It was, you know, a pretty extravagant deal, you know, on the Warner Brothers lot.
Yeah. Fox show, Fox
show, Fox Money,
television.
absolutely. Yeah. It's biggest stages at the lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have a lot of time change to like switch out all the game show levels and whatnot.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, and it's usually 2 days of filming each game because there's 10 groups, there's 10 episodes,
and they
male and
all
female,
on the same set, then build new news. Okay,
exactly. So you all play that one game, boom. I'll play the next game, and then whoever gets cut doesn't go to the next episode, but still comes back in case of an injury happens.
Yes.
They got to fill in.
Crazy.
So it was like a 2.5 week process.
Okay, that's crazy. That's a lot. And did you get paid even if you didn't win the prize, or was it just you're competing for free?
Yeah. So I mean, we got paid to like be on the show.
Okay.
There was a pay on to be on the show, but a lot of people flew out to be there and like either
broke
quit their
even.
Some of them like broke like either broke even or quit their jobs even, or like was like, hey, I have to put my job on hold for like 3 weeks. This is a long time in case I have to go all the way through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Crazy, man. That is crazy. And I guess that's it's got to be, I guess, knowing everyone, you have to feel comfortable in the sense that you're like, well, I kind of know how fast that guy is. I know what his strengths and weaknesses are. Yeah. Did that play into your advantage at all? Or were you like a little more nervous, like, oh no, like I know these guys, maybe they're going to try to prove a point and go hard on me because I am one of the few parkour athletes? Because a lot of people are just from ordinary walks of life that are on the show. And so I wondered like if you felt any pressure because they maybe were out to like prove like, okay, he's just a contestant. We're the pros,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what I found out later on is that they didn't know I was on the show until they stepped on the course and saw me when we were rolling.
Wild.
Yeah.
That's almost better then.
That's almost
cool.
better too.
Yeah, totally.
But I knew all of them.
Yeah, totally.
So, and the good thing was like I would get to watch the games before they happen to other competitors.
You're learning.
And I see what they're doing. I'm like, okay, some of them are like holding back a little bit for the show a bit, but I'm like, I'm an athlete. They're going to know exactly who I am. Goofing around. So it was nice to do that. So I could like pick apart some people, but it's like, if you're in there for a long time and another person comes in, it's like, they're fresh legs, and you're in there for 2.5 minutes or whatnot. And you're like, fuck, how you going?
Totally. That is crazy, man. That's awesome, man. Well, congrats on winning. I definitely watched the episode. And like I said, we haven't ruined it. It's been out for quite some time now, but go check it out. And then one of the other shows that you've been a part of in 2 different capacities, I'll talk about first as a competitor, is World Chase Tag.
Yeah.
And so how did you get involved in that? I believe part of it is also intertwined with your sponsor because you're on a team, right? Represented by your sponsor. So how did you get into World Chase Tag?
Team Olo, the shoe sponsor that I'm sponsored for since they came out, the owner came up to me and was like, hey, World Chase Tag's coming to the US and it's going to have a lot of teams around. Would you like to be our team captain and help me get the other members on? Like, absolutely. This is going to be amazing. I watched World Chase Tag and it's like the fastest sport there is. Like it's super rapid. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. And so I got a few of my friends, like I got Luke Anderson, a hometown buddy of mine, and I got other Olo athletes on the team. And then I got one more athlete who did Ultimate Tag with me, who actually won episode 7.
No way. Who's that?
Emmett Kitson.
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Actually, I sold him a pair of my Olos on the show because he saw me wearing some. He's like, hey, man, I do parkour and calisthenics. What kind of shoe, is that kind of shoe do you wear for him? I'm like, yeah, I have the shoes as a deal. You want a pair? I'm like, yeah, sure. It was online. I'm like, no, I'll get you a pair. I have, boxes and boxes of shoes. I'm like, get him a pair for like $20. And he was like, cool, let's train on the shoes on there. And then I'm like, yeah, man, you're really fast with juking and stuff. Would you like to be on the team? Like, because you're rocking Olos now, right?
Yeah,
like, yeah, absolutely. And we just became a quick team like that.
Crazy. And so what was the preparation for that? Did you guys get the chance to practice together collectively, or were you guys all spread out and just kind of showed up to the competition? That was your first time?
Yeah, so we were all spread out kind of collectively in like 2 people in California, people in Texas, 2 people in Arizona. And so some people got to train with their people partners in their states, collectively. But we never got to train as a team together. We would always like go on Instagram and be like, hey guys, how's training going on? How's the clips going? What are you guys doing for training? Cool. All right, sweet. Make sure you guys work on this. Hey, watch this video about this thing on the course, on the quad. And we were just rocking it out like that until we get to the in Ohio?
Yes, I think so.
No, Atlanta.
Oh, no, first season was Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Yes,
we get to Atlanta.
I remember the quarantine.
In the hotel. Yeah, in the quarantine when we're all doing our swabs. Yes. Some of the teams meet for the first time while we're doing our swabs.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was like, hey, nice to meet you, man. Yeah, and I'm like the only person that's connected with like everyone on the team. Yeah. With like different branches. And so I'm like melding the glue together, getting the team together and like, hey guys, it was nice to meet each other for the first time. It's like, cool. We went up to our rooms and just started watching footage.
Yes.
Just watching it, going together as a team.
And just because people obviously compare the two so often, what was more difficult, Ultimate Tag or World Chase Tag?
Wow. I would say Ultimate Tag in just in the aspect of not knowing what you're going up against, like initially kind of thing, but like,
okay.
And it's as far as endurance too, because yes, World Chase Tag is endurance with like really fast, but Ultimate Tag is like or endurance for a long period of time if you can last it, and you want to last it because there's a prize on the line. Whereas World Chase Tag, sure, there's a prize on the line of being champions and stuff, and there is a prize money involved, but it's spread apart between your team.
Yeah.
And it's a team effort again, team sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas Ultimate Tag was an individual sport. I'm going against only 2 other people.
Wow.
And there's a cash prize involved, so you're going hard.
And I guess the other thing is you have watched World Chase Tag, so you kind of have an idea of what the quad is. Whereas Ultimate Tag, it was season 1, so you haven't seen all the obstacles and the courses, I guess, before.
Yeah, you get to see the obstacles like a few days before the competition, so you get to like train on it for like a day, and then like for 45 into an hour, whatever, how long they have time allotted.
Crazy.
Train on it for a bit, and then like, all right, cool, go back, and then just go in your rooms or you're dismissed for the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Super wild. Do you think that you'll ever compete again on World Chase Tag? Or do you think you'll ever compete again on World Chase Tag?
World Chase Tag, Ultimate Tag, World Chase Tag?
Yeah, World Chase Tag. Do you think you'll ever compete again?
In World Chase Tag, absolutely.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because last season, I got to train on the quad in Colorado.
Yes.
When Apex got to host the quad out there and let athletes come over and compete on it or train on it. So I got Luke and I to go drive up there on the way to Pennsylvania to Woodward. Okay. So we had to train on the quad, and we got to stay at the house. So you wake up, slide the door open, and there's the quad.
Yeah.
You have it all to yourself. And I got to just walk it and just like get the path and get the feeling of it and get all the aspects of like where to go, and got to train and just like have fun and have games on it. And then like later on, the brothers call me up and like DeVoe, and they're like, hey, would you like to host?
Yes. For World Chase Tag
5. Yeah. And I'm like, let me think about it. Can I think about it, please? Can I think about it? And it took me like almost a month, like 27 days, like 27 days, like a long time to think about it. And like
Totally.
talk and forth, back and forth, like, what are the logistics of it? How much am I getting paid for this? What are the ramifications, the long-term kind of thing like that? And I'm just like, oh my goodness, I got all this intel of being on the quad.
Yes.
And I'm like, dang it.
You can't use it now.
I can't use it now. But I got to use it a little bit with managing the team. So I couldn't be captain of Olo, that team, since I decided to commentate.
Yes.
So I'm like, all right, give it to Steezy. So he became the captain, but I would be able to still be able to manager, like team manager.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was able to like keep them in line, like, all right, guys, these are the teams you're going up against. We got new guys, we got old comers.
Yes.
People have done it before. These are the quick people. Make sure you guys look out for this, look out for that. Yeah. I think this person should go out first. This should go, hold on, fresh legs. So I was still being able to be part of it while still like on the back end of it.
Super cool, man. Super cool. And so that's one other thing that we share in common is that we both have been able to have careers as commentators and MCs for parkour events, both live and televised and things like that. And so was your first events, were those USA Parkour World Cups, or what was your first commentating experience? My first commentating experience was actually doing live parkour performance shows out in Indiana. No way.
Yeah, WFPF was like, hey.
The NCAA show? Or which?
No, it wasn't. It was actually just Indiana State Fair.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they had a BMX and like BMX shows and motocross stunts and all these other cool things. And they just bought the iOS integrated obstacle systems from the WFPF. So it's a lot of stuff you can readjust. Movable stuff. So it's not the same show every time.
Yeah.
Whereas the bike shows right behind us, it's just two half pipes or 2 quarter pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the kickers are like, oh, cool, back and forth, different skills and whatnot, different gimmicks and stunts.
Totally.
With the parkour aspect, we can like move the vault boxes around, move the bars around, and we got to change it around. And the host of the show would introduce the BMX show. Oh, it's getting gnarly, doing all those terms that he's used to, and like, oh, he's greasing it up, oiling it up on the track. He's like that, and he's like, all right, now we have the parkour show, and he's talking about it, and like it was on for like maybe 2 or 3 shows, and he's like, hey man, how would you like to introduce like you guys, since you have the lingo down? And I'm like, I don't know you guys' lingo right now.
Totally.
I'm like, okay, yeah, let me watch one more of your shows and like try and pick up what you got, and then like I'll feed into what I got. All right, cool. So I was like, all right, and then we have the parkour show, and it's like we introduced the. He would like introduce each athlete and like, all right, cool. Now I'm going to go off to my man, Fernando. Hi guys, we're doing parkour out here. We got to start off. And I would just go into my spiel about like, doing safe stuff and like being my personality into it. And like, whoa, that was so sick. Jumped over 5 people. Like, oh, you did this vault over that. All right. And then bring it back to him. And then go on with my performance and tricking it out and doing the shows.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And then obviously you got the chance to host some USA Parkour World Cups as well.
Yeah.
And obviously World Chase Tag 5. Do you enjoy the commentating, or do you enjoy competing more?
Ooh,
because I don't have a reference point for this, because for example, I hosted since I was basically, I'm not to be cocky, but I think I was probably one of the first parkour hosts dating back to Ultimate Parkour Challenge. Ultimate Parkour Challenge. And then I was the live MC for the Red Bull Art Emotions. And then I got to do them online before I handed it off to Frosty. And as a result of that, I never got to compete because I was always asked to be the guy on the mic.
Really?
Yeah. So I literally hosted every single one of them since its origin. So I didn't even get the chance to put my name into the hat. And it's one of the biggest regrets I have in my life is that I didn't get to ever just try one. But at the same time, I couldn't turn down because, as you know, in those competitions, when you compete, you have a chance to win prize money. When I was commentating and emceeing, I'm getting paid every single time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm getting paid every time. And like, yeah, so for me, it was a no-brainer. But
body's fine.
I don't, yeah, exactly. I don't have that ability to compare like you and Frosty do. So what do you enjoy more, commentating or competing?
That's a tough question.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it also depends on what I'm competing in too, I guess, and what I'm commentating.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Commentating parkour events is fun because like it's it's at a moderate pace. Get the hype up. There's slowdowns. With World Chase Tag, it's go. Be on the line. Who's next? Oh no. And when it's live, it's like even worse because it's like. Oh, we don't have it like how they did in England, kind of like they had video playback and stuff like that. We were just like,
one chance at it, bro.
I don't know this person, like, who's on the map? Where is he? Go. Oh yeah. What did he just do? Oh, focus, hang on. So I had to be really like focused and intent with that. And then with competitions, it's like, there's a different level of focus, whereas you've had the practice of doing these skills over and over and over again. Whereas with the World Chase Tag, I haven't called it before.
Totally.
I mean, I've called it at Woodward, where we have like World Chase Tag Tuesdays with the kids.
Yeah.
And so I have it from there, and I just do them like commentating from what I've done before in like parkour events or what I've seen on World Chase Tag competitions before on YouTube. So I have a similar vibe, and I can just pick it up and mimic kind of those voices like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. I was just always curious. But yeah, people don't realize it is one of the most stressful things to do. It's really fun. You got the best seat in the house. You're getting paid.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, man, especially on live television, it is a daunting task because you just don't want to make a mistake. And a lot of times I'll literally do a broadcast and be like, I don't even know what I said, man. Like, I'm going to have to rewatch this back, but I don't even want to rewatch it back because I don't want to watch myself. Yeah, it's a crazy experience.
Yeah, especially with the Ultimate Tag when I was competing, and like they would give you like stuff that were, oh, there's some questions they're going to ask you while you're on the course.
Yeah.
And, you know, practice your answers. Practice your answers. All right, cool. But then sometimes the host would change up the questions or like change it up and like, oh, so you have split decisions and you're just like, you say something on you're just like, what did they just say?
Why did I say that?
Why did I say that?
I know all too well how that goes, man. That's crazy. And so one of the other things I wanted to talk to you about, because I feel like this is something that a lot of listeners and viewers in our audience would probably be interested in, is how they can eventually obtain sponsorships. And so I just wanted to really just quickly just ask how you got sponsored by Alo and what that entails, and maybe any advice you have for kids out there that are looking to try to get sponsored by the same brand or any other brands.
How I got sponsored was basically repping the brand. Someone told me about this new shoe company that was for parkour athletes, kind of sort of parkour by parkour almost. And it was just a GoFundMe kind of thing. So it wasn't even like a real thing. It was GoFundMe. It's like, oh, cool.
Early days.
Yeah,
Holy crap.
Early days. So like, all right, cool. I'll start it up, invest it, get a cool pair. And then we had a jam for when everyone got the shoes. It was a cool like sponsorship kind of jam kind of thing, or kind of like everyone got the shoes kind of jam. And my friend would take pictures of me, like take pictures of everyone doing like cool stunts and like doing like air awareness and things. He's got good sports photography background kind of thing. And so I would just post those on my social media, and then I would tag them in it. And I would do that for a few months and like a year or two, or so much. And they're like, hey, we're looking to do a shoot out here to do a promo for our shoes. Would you like to, come out to LA and we'll fly you out here and shoot a video? I'm like, cool, yeah. I was like, do you have any other people that you have any team that would fly out? I'm like, of course. So I get one of my homies from Arizona. We fly out over there and we get our swag, our free shoes, our free shirt, and we shoot our video around UCLA and around downtown Los Angeles and do that. And I was like, cool. And then like later on, actually, I'm going too far forward. Before that, I had one pair from the startup, and I was wearing those and posting pictures, and they're getting kind of worn down. It's the only pair I have.
Totally.
And brand saw that and was like, hey, your shoes are looking a little worn down. What's your address? We'll send you a new pair.
Wow.
Oh, cool. That'd be so awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Here's my address. And then I get one day, if I get home back from school, I see a big box in front of my door. And I'm like, it's like a big box. It's like, like almost to the door handle.
Wow.
And I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, looking at it, I'm like, oh, it's from Olo. I'm like, what? And I get out and I open it up, and it's the four colors that they have, like 4 sets of shoes.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, 4 new pairs of Olos. I'm like, oh my goodness, thank you so much. And I just like change those out, interchange them so I wouldn't want them down as fast.
Totally.
And I would keep sharing it, keep posting it. And then again, I got that call about the shoot in LA, and then they just keep hooking it up. And then eventually I was looking to do Red Bull Art of Motion in Santorini.
Yes.
And they're like, how can we help you? And I'm like, I'm going out there, can you help me fund it out for a little bit? And they throw me some money to pay for the flights and whatnot. I'm like, it's so dope. I'm a sponsored athlete competing and doing what I love across the country, across the world.
And all stemmed from you just repping the brand and tagging them.
Just repping it and tagging it, yeah. Promoting it. And I would tell my friends and my training with, like, hey man, these are pretty good shoes. Like, I would take them off and I would hand it to people and like, try them out. Like, oh wow, these are light and stuff like that. And then like, I would train with other people and like, hey, what kind of shoes you wear? I'm like, oh cool. I'm like, let me try those on. And it's like, oh yeah, try them on. What shoes you wear? What side do you wear? And then I remember talking to my buddies like, oh man, I wear Fayus. I'm like, oh, let me some Fayus. I'm like, all right, you training those? Yeah. Like I grabbed them like, oh man, it's so heavy. I'm like, what? Heavy? They're like the lightest shoes. I'm like, here, try these. And I'm like, what? How are these lighter? And I'm like, dude, they're so light. And I'm just like, dude, it's insane.
Wow. Yeah, I gotta try them, dude. They look awesome. They look super cool.
Yeah. These ones are modeled after the Vans Ultra range, which is what you're wearing right now.
Yeah, which I'm wearing. Yeah, I was gonna say they look very similar. That's sick.
So it's taking that shoe to a parkour aspect and parkour twist, so it's more the impact of it as far as the grip wise over there.
Wow, that's so sick, man. Super, super sick and super inspiring for kids to know that you could just possibly get a sponsorship by just repping a brand and tagging them and getting yourself out there.
Yeah, and then like once you get better at your craft and you keep promoting yourself and keep promoting your brand, keep promoting yourself, eventually other brands hook you up with like clothing deals and, you know, eyewear, headphones. Dude, there's so many things out there you can get sponsored by.
Yeah, social media is such a blessing to live in this day and age, man. Kids have no idea what they have at their disposal, whether it's their TikTok, their Instagram, you know, YouTube in general. These are things that we just didn't have back when we started. And so, yeah, the possibilities are endless. Yeah, 100%. So at this point, how many days a week are you training, and what's the focus of your current, I guess, path in parkour right now?
Nowadays, I'm not training as much as I was back then, like 5-6 days a week. But now I'm doing like maybe like 2 to 3 days a week.
Okay.
I'll have an in-gym session, usually at Tempest or at Jam here.
Okay.
And then I'll go outside on Saturdays or Sundays with PKLA.
Yes.
They meet up and everything.
100%. Okay. Yeah. And then as far as career-wise, what do you want to do? Do you want to keep coaching and doing stuff like Woodward being the camp director? Do you want to go into the commentary route even more so? Like, what do you think is on the horizon?
I still like to be a part of like dabble in everything.
Okay.
Because you know, if you get settled in one thing, you get focused and you get too tunnel vision and too plateaued.
Totally.
Because I've dealt with that with Taekwondo, just being plateaued for the longest time, not being able to move up in rank, and so I don't want to be plateaued in one kind of thing. I want to keep expanding to multiple options, multiple outlets.
Okay.
So I would love to continue to keep coaching and keep coordinating at Camp Woodward, because I have a bond there that's like next to none. It's like it's another second home out there.
Totally.
Yeah. And then I would love to keep commentating for World Chase Tag, because they're looking to expand their competition route and their circuits. I'm going to keep commentating for USA Parkour Cups.
Yep.
Yeah, because again, there's one next week that will be commentating on that one.
Yep.
And then maybe World Championships down the line. Definitely want to keep competing.
Okay.
As far as I can keep going. Because again, that knowledge can't go to waste.
Totally.
I was on that quad and just like having the time of my life and having fun. And it's like things you learn that you've never, like in the 45 minutes that you get to train on the course before the show is not enough.
Yeah.
You need to be on that thing for a while to get comfortable with that quad. And it's like you learn the routes, you learn the slow parts. And I'm just like, oh, and then I can't do anything? I'm like, no, I need to use it.
Crazy, man. So this is an all-encompassing question we ask everyone when we get out of here. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And then where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Yeah, 5 years from now, I think I want to just continually dabble in everything, but at a higher level. And then maybe like 5 to 10 years from now, I would love to continue on as far as I can go and keep on as far as my body can take it, and also be a recurring character on a TV show, like a cartoon character, like a cartoon show.
Sick.
Yeah, animated show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Super dope goals to see. Yeah. And obviously with the sport continuing to evolve, I guess the possibilities are limitless as well. And hopefully World Chase Tag will continue for many, many, many numbers from here on out.
Oh, yeah. I'm super excited to see how far it goes.
Hell yeah. Same here, man. We'll do more than anything. I really appreciate you coming through and sharing some insight and sharing part of your story. And, as always, we'll always continue to watch these shows that you're a commentator on, and just be cheering you on as one of the homies. So thanks for coming through.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Of course,
Love
man.
to be
So
here.
before we get out of here, can you look in this camera and tell people where they can stay up to date with your own personal journey and continue to follow you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Fernando_Arce. That's FERNANDO_ARCE. I'm also on YouTube, but if you want to find my videos, you can just look for my name and you'll find me.
Hell yeah. With that being said, guys, please be sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe for brand new episodes each and every week. Join us every Monday for Jam Breakdowns and every Friday for a brand new JAMCast, interviewing influential members of the movement community like Mr. Fernando Arce himself. So with that being said, guys, got to give one more very special shout out. Thanks for coming through, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Travis.
Hell yes.
Thanks.
And as always, guys, coming through, I'm your host, Travis Wong. Thanks for joining us here on another JAMCast. Until next time, we'll see you all soon. Peace.